You didn't grow up wealthy.
No, not at all. And then I get my first wholesale deal before my notice period was up with my company. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be fantastic.
And so
Yeah,
20,000, and that was beautiful. And I loved the vision. I loved the way you did the roof in the front. It was just,
thank you.
It was beautiful. It was well thought out. And so bought it for 20, you put 100 in it. What was it worth?
225.
Bam!
Yeah.
Welcome to the New American Dream Podcast, where we interview people just like you. Didn't grow up wealthy, didn't really have a direct path on where they were going to go, had struggles in life, but after struggle, have turned that into success. So, man, welcome my good friend, Michelle Marianne. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Man, I am so excited to have you here. So just to tell you guys a little bit about Michelle, she's also the president. Like, we have city groups all over the country. I think we got 41 of them now. And what we build these out for is networking and accountability, and for people to know that they have a local community. Because when you're doing real estate, a lot of times it's like, it's hard. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking this way, but hey, go out into the field and look at a property that somebody's doing. Hey, I'm struggling. I need an electrician. Hey, go in your city group and go to your group me and ask. You can ask your president, like Michelle, or ask somebody else. Is there a vendor on this list that does electric or painting? I'm struggling, man. I had a flood in the middle of the night. You don't know where to go. All these things, we have groups of investors that have dealt with this problem in your community, and a lot of times can give you a referral. Maybe it's a title issue. So, Michelle, I want to first off thank you very much for all that you and your husband do in the community, because I know it's rewarding to you to give back, but man, more than anything, thank you for all you do for everybody in our community.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. We're honored to be part of, and there's really no greater joy than helping other people. Even when you think you don't have anything to offer, every step along the way, like, you look back and it's like, oh, wow, actually, I can help with that, or point you in the right direction.
Yeah. So, we mentioned, like, you're doing really good in the real estate, and we'll get into that in a minute. But, we talk about you growing up. You didn't grow up wealthy.
No.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah. So I grew up, I'm the oldest of three. So if you want to call me bossy, okay. But oldest of three, my mother, her and my father separated young, and I swear I get my work ethic from her, because that woman worked as hard as she possibly could. 3 jobs, 3 kids, and, they just grew up the same way that we all heard. It's like, go to school, get good grades, get a good job, or, go to more school, get good grades, get a good job, all of that. And, I guess her and my father probably felt like they had to step back, because neither one of them graduated high school, and, just felt like they were just going to work hourly wages for the rest of their lives. And so I kind of grew up in that environment, and even more like, get good grades so you don't have to be like me. And, looking back on those things, we didn't have it easy, and that's fine, but that's also made myself, my brothers, who we are. And so they did the best they could with what they had at the time, and so I grew up wanting something different for my children, and myself, and I followed in the same suit, didn't graduate high school and all of that stuff, and then turned out that I was able to just fall into a career at the time, which basically you could advance with just on-the-job training, which was property management. And so that was great for a single mother, not having to pay for schooling and that sort of thing. So I kind of segued into that unexpectedly, and changed things for my family. And did I'm very proud of that, because I kind of stepped outside of what was supposed to be. But then still limiting myself as to, well, I want more, but this is probably where I'm going to be. Good earner, all that stuff. But,
Now, when you say where you were going to be, so you had already in your mind settled for what your life was going to be like.
So early on before I realized the career the opportunity that I had unexpectedly, yes. Yeah. This is
Got it.
probably, I wanted more, but this is probably going to be it.
So you thought, well, I didn't finish school and I didn't go to college, so I'm destined just to do this the rest of my life.
More than likely, yeah. Yeah. And then as I kind of got into it, I started seeing things change. And, it's, again, I did very well. It was a great career. And I did that for 25 years. Kenneth, he had several businesses and that sort of thing, and done well for himself. But, always wanting more, but not knowing where and how that was going to be,
Yep.
But the work ethic followed to whatever it wanted it to be. It could be. Just what is that going to be?
Yeah.
And so then that kind of, again, that started to change the trajectory a little bit. And then we get into, things happen, it's, you work your ass off for everybody, just making lots of people, lots and lots of money. And, you're lucky that if you can take 2 weeks of vacation a year and not feel guilty about it because of the responsibility that's put on you, from your employers. You're lucky to be able to be out sick without feeling guilty.
And I think that's something that, and I'm asking the question, is that something that you also feel like you saw your parents do? So you saw them do it. So then you felt that was the responsibility that you had to take on?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like you weren't working hard if you weren't there, you took a vacation. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's, you need to take time off. You don't really want me to take time off. You want me to be here.
You want me to take time off as long as
it's convenient.
I figure out somebody to do my work while I'm gone that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. So, man, that's an amazing story. And then so you didn't graduate high school. You're climbing the ranks. You're doing it through hard work.
Right.
They don't teach you hard work in college. So you didn't have to go to college to get that.
Right.
And you can outdo anybody with hard work. But a lot of times it takes knowledge applied with hard work to really have massive success. So you mentioned that you started doing property management in 98, I think it was?
Roughly, yeah.
25 years later. Let's say 20 years later, how many properties did you own?
So I dabbled in real estate in roughly 2004. And at that point I had 2. And then, we sold those off and then didn't do anything again until 2020. So 2020, we called a guy, his house is dilapidated, made him an offer, hadn't even been on the inside of it, for $20,000, and he took it. And so then 2020, we bought that house, and then it sat there until last year.
And so you had a dream because you bought the house.
Right.
You just didn't know how to apply. You didn't have the knowledge to apply to that house and even probably know how to make it make sense.
So during that time, with my W-2, Kenneth's business, there was no time. I had 0 time to devote to that house.
Got it.
So again, it just had to sit there because everyone else was before, what we wanted to do.
So what made you change that?
So in 2022, Kenneth and I got married. So long story back, we're high school sweethearts and kind of reconnected and got married.
Congratulations, Ken. You outdid yourself, man.
Oh, thank you. He needs to see that, hear that. No, I'm just kidding.
But put it on replay.
That's right. I mean, rewind it. So funny story. So 2022, we're getting married in the Caribbean, and all our family's there. And so he'd been watching your podcasts and telling me little bits about it and all this stuff. And, I hear him, and yes, that'd be great, but we're just not there yet, and all this stuff's going on. And so we're out in the, beautiful blue water, Trunk Bay, and Kenneth was like, Michelle, I got to take this call. And I was like, okay. And I think it was Matt. I want to say it was Matt saying, hey, listen, if you want to get her on the Bur Academy, you still can. But this, we're running a special and it's through now. And Kenneth's like, man, I'm in the Caribbean. Like, and they're like, okay, I'll hold your spot. And then he comes and tells me about it. I was like, I don't want to hear about any of that. Like, come on. Like, let's enjoy what we have here.
We're on our honeymoon.
What are you doing? Anyway, so then we get back home and anyway, so, he's telling me about it. Okay, he's joining. But before I'd let him join, I'm like, I've got to research this. I've got to figure out, is this good? Are we going to throw our money away? So I'm posting in the public group saying, okay, who's joined the academy? What is it like? And all this stuff. And to get feedback first, because I'm going to make an educated decision. And anyway, so I finally was like, okay, fine. And so we joined it and then did nothing. And then during this time, I've got a super stressful executive position with the property management software company, and some things happened, and I was like, you know what? I need to take a couple days off because I need to decide if I'm going to pursue this or not. And I talked to Kenneth, and I was just like, told him, I was like, I've got to make a decision because I'm just not on board with this. He's like, all right, well, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. And so I just went back, put in my notice. I gave him 3 weeks and said, I'm out. And so then from there, I was like, okay, let me get into this BI Academy and see what's happening. And I'd watched a few things. And, Jarius is talking about wholesaling. I'm like, okay, I love talking to people. I can do some wholesaling, build up some capital, because I wasn't ready to exit that position. I was not prepared. I had a whole plan of what I was going to do the whole year, had it all laid out. And then, that's what happens. It was all a blessing, even though at the time I was like, oh God, what's going to happen now? And so then I get into the academy and I'm like doing all the stuff and listening and learning. And then I get my first wholesale deal before my notice period was up with my company. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, this is going to be fantastic. Oh, we've got this, kidda. And I didn't do another wholesale deal, but on that one I made $2,500 and I learned some lessons. And so then from that it just kind of segued into, okay, well now I need to work on this house. And I remember I was Facebook messaging you. I was like, how am I going to get lending? Like, I just quit my job. Like, who's going to give me money?
Yeah.
And you told me some different things to do, and then I was like, okay, I'll try to do that. And you're like, can you please just stop saying try? And I was like, that's a good point. Okay, I'll stop saying try. And so then my mind shifted, and I started seeing that things, like, it's not how, it's just who, right?
Yeah.
There is one that's going to give me this money. Even if I don't know how, I believe that what they said is true.
Yeah.
And so I remember I got this lender on the phone. People were turning me down, because they were counting against us because we owned the house. But I needed $80,000 to renovate it, and it was a whole weird situation. And I remember getting this lender on the phone from Charlotte area, and I did some of the things that you guys said, and I felt like such an imposter, but it worked. I said, listen, I'm looking to build my team, and if you don't want to give me this money, that's fine, but you remember my name because you're going to hear it again because I'm going places, and that's okay. And he called me, and he was like, hey. I was so pissed. Then he called me, and he's like, listen, I think we could probably work this out. Just tell me what's going on. So I told him, and long story short, we got the loan and all of that. Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
And so then we started working on it. And
that confidence, when people see you got confidence, you're like, man, they believe in themselves. They're going to make it happen.
Listen, just to fast forward, so that was last July. And he ended up leaving that lender, but fast forward to 2 months ago, he called me and asked me if I had any deals I was working on that he wanted to partner with me. And he's not even there anymore. And I only did one deal with him.
and so he said partner, like he's bringing the money?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. So
You
he
can't
did.
make this stuff up, man. You can't
No.
make it up.
I told Kenneth, I was like, I told him to remember my name. Look at that. And he did. This crazy woman saying, fine, don't give it to me, but I'm going to get it somewhere. I'm out looking for partners.
That is awesome.
I'm building my team.
That is awesome. So, you went through what's been the biggest things that you learned in our mentorship?
Oh, man. There have been so many things. So I will go back probably every single time to mindsets. And because I put so many blocks on myself because of, the little thing, your network is your net worth and all this stuff. Like, you have got to surround yourself with like-minded people. And for myself, like, I will celebrate every single little win. I don't care what it is. I will celebrate it. If I, get somebody under contract, great. If I get somebody on the phone that wants to sell me their house, it might be a skirt steak, but I'm going to get one. Like, it's, and just because it doesn't have to be some big flamboyant thing, because celebrating all the little wins is what's going to carry you when the big stuff happens,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I celebrate them, then I can look back. It gives me cold chills just to see what's happened in the last 13 months. That house we were, going to renovate, I paid somebody to let me use their GC license. My background's, I've managed major construction projects, and throughout my career, value add was my thing. And so I've got that all day long. I remember being scared to death to go pull the permits because I was afraid they were going to know that I was only using him as, paying for his license. And then I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm just going to say I'm the homeowner and it's my money, so I'm heavily involved. Each little step, I look back, I'm like, wow, I was so scared to do that. And now look.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Mindset, celebrate the wins.
So tell us about
people.
That first deal. And then we're going to jump into what you're doing now. So you joined our mentorship. I don't know when you joined, but you really about 14 months ago, you started being active, right?
Yeah.
And so since then, what have you been able to accomplish?
All right. So since then, I wholesaled my first deal. I renovated that.
I want to say something to everybody watching. You guys may be saying, oh, it was only $2,500. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you guys. I used to sell drugs, and my first $1 million I made selling drugs didn't mean as much to me as my first 1,000 I made when I wholesaled a deal. And I'm going to tell you why. It was a different level. It's not like I worked for somebody and made money. It's like I went out and I was able to make money myself. It's so empowering. For me, it was so empowering. It's
very
like,
much so.
Holy crap. I didn't need a company to do. I was able to.
Yes.
I didn't need to sell drugs to do this. It was. So I don't know if you felt the same way, but people may be saying 2,500, but it maybe felt like 25 million to you because you realize, like, I can do this. I don't need this company.
Yep. It gave me the confidence to do the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next, and you just build on that. So there was the wholesale deal, and then the renovation of that house, bought it for 20, put about 100 in it. It's funny because I put the picture of the house, like, just barely looking like it was standing on toothpicks in the public group, and people were like, tear it down. I even had GCs tell me that, and I was like, yeah, you're not my people. Peace out.
Yeah. And that's the thing about the network. So tell them about the network. Like, I got one of the larger groups, it's got about 288,000 people in it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we give out like a lot of free information and inspire people. But even in that, it's hard to control that many people's mindset. And so, she posted this in our group, which is Bur Invest, which is, Bur Invest. And for those of you that don't know, Michelle, tell them what Bur stands for.
So it's buy, renovate, refinance.
Rent. You got to rent it first.
Rent, refinance, repeat. Sorry. That one R gets me.
Yeah.
So I put it in that public group and they tore me up. They just wore me out. And then I put it in the private group and everyone is That looks like you got a hell of a deal. That's fantastic. I can't wait to see what it looks like when you're done.
Now, when you put it, and so you think about the mindset.
Yes.
Like, and so, if she would have just put it in that group, she may have felt defeated. Like, oh my God, I made a bad mistake.
Yeah.
But when she put it in the group where we understand numbers, they're like, oh man, you're going to crush it.
But okay, if you say so.
Yeah, hey, girl, Michelle losing her mind. You see what her and Ken done went and did,
Yeah.
and they're following this guy, and they done paid him to mentor him, and it's a scam. It's a scam, and they went and bought this crappy house. And so,
yeah,
$20,000, and that was beautiful. And I love the vision. I love the way you did the roof in the front. It was just,
Thank you.
It was beautiful. It was well thought out. And so, bought it for 20. You put 100 in it. What was it worth?
$225.
Bam.
Yes, and then I rented it, and I think even Kenneth didn't think I was going to rent it for as much as I did. So my first renter was $14.25 a month.
Don't be a doubter.
So it was $14.25 a month. So we're cash flowing, met the DSCR, refinanced out of it.
Now tell people what DSCR is, because a lot of people don't even know.
Oh, the debt service coverage ratio. So you've got to have enough income from the property to cover your debt, basically, which would be your property taxes and your mortgage payment, and insurance. And so we
property management fee and maintenance. But Michelle's an expert at that.
Yeah.
So,
yes. Yeah, I started a property management company alongside of all this, so now I get the vertical integration of that. So we cashed out of that, and so we cashed out of that, started the property management.
So it came in at $225. You had $120 in it. How much was your refinance for?
It was for, I want to say it was 70%. 70% of the $225.
It's about one.
Well, 75%. I'm not the human calculator like you are, okay? 168.
Whoa, hey, you got 168,000 out. Minus fees. Let's say you walked away with 164, 163.
Yeah.
But you only had 120 in it. How's that possible?
What do you mean?
Explain to people. They don't understand this.
Oh, so we paid back our $20,000 that we bought. We paid back took out the loan. We had to pay off the loan, and then the difference of that we were able to collect.
So you got to keep 40 plus grand in your pocket.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have to pay the tax man, though, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not, because it was through debt.
So those of you that don't understand, this is the unlimited money glitch. This is the stuff that we talk about. This is what the wealthy people do over and over and over. Working people work to pay the debt for the people that become wealthy. And so you are either going to be, in this country, if you want to get wealthy, you are either going to go in debt and understand how debt can be used to be good debt, or you are going to go to work every day and trade your time for money and pay somebody else's debt. That's really the way it works. And you could argue with me all you want. I'm telling you right now that I would much rather have $100 million in debt on real estate than $10 million in cash.
Yeah.
And people say, well, there's no way. Well, you don't understand numbers. And that is what I can help you break down and understand so you can make an educated decision. So you're able to pay the bank. You got $40,000 cash out. The tenant's paying the bank every month, essentially. You're just catching the money, taking a little bit off for you, giving the rest to the bank, right?
Yep.
But like, it's worth $225, but what if it goes down in value? Did you do your research to make sure it's in a good market?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is in a fantastic area, and it's actually in Kernersville, North Carolina, which is appreciating. And they just built a trail as I was renovating this house, like a new little greenway trail. The entrance is right beside it, and I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So it's very exciting. Yes, and I've already turned over my renter, which I did that in the first 3 or 4 months, but I got an extra $225 a month in rent. So
wait, now you're getting $1,600?
Yeah. Oh yeah, over $1,600. Yeah.
Dang. And then what do you think the property's worth now?
I probably $260-ish, but I've only renovated in the last year.
Dang, it went up another 30 grand in value because of that trail in the area?
Oh, the area's booming. Yes.
Wow.
Lots happening in the area. So I'm looking for another little diamond over there. I'm trying to buy the neighbors next door.
Well, come on, come on.
Try. I said try.
So I'm buying the neighbors next door.
Well, I will say this. We are. He just won't let go of it yet. So it's just a matter of time. I harass him every few months.
And that's great. Send them something for, the holidays.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm sending you this gift basket because you're going to sell me this house.
Yeah. Yes.
So Michelle, okay, boom, you crushed it on your first deal. You made $100 grand.
Yeah.
Now you worked for 25 years. Were you ever in your 25 years able to save up $100 grand?
Save up, no.
I mean, why do you think more people don't take a chance on themselves?
I think it's scary. Like this last 13, 14 months, I mean, it's been exciting, scary, crazy. Oh my gosh. Like it's wild. And when I first started and people were like, my only regret is that I hadn't started sooner and all this stuff.
Yeah,
like I heard that, but I didn't necessarily I heard it, but I didn't hear it, until it started happening. And then it was like, holy crap, if we could do this in 13, 14 months, I can't imagine what the next 13 or 14 are going to be like. And I do wish I'd have started sooner. Because, wow.
Here, let me ask you this. A lot of people, I say things and people think they're crazy. And you've seen the path that I got laid out for everybody who gets in our mentorship.
Right.
It's a 5-year plan to retire.
Right.
Is that crazy to think that?
No.
Do you think it's doable, the plan that I laid out?
I think it's doable, and I also think it can be sooner if you are able to find the deals in the right areas, 100%.
I say 5 years, you know why? Because if I really told people 3 years, they would really think like I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
And so I think 5 years, what I tell people is I want them to pace themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so, God, who was that joined, man? I think it might have been your husband telling me. He's like, yeah, I got to do 4 deals a month. I was like, whoa. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You got to do 2 deals your first year.
Yeah.
4 deals your second year. 6 deals your third year, then 8 your fourth, and 10 your fifth, and you're retired the rest of your life. It's not super hard, but you have to be very methodical, very disciplined at what you're buying. And if you buy deals like what you bought, you can do it in 3.
Yeah.
And so, because now your rent actually is probably 18, 19. It's climbing that fast because you identified an area that had all this pent-up demand, and now you're meeting that equilibrium, which is new build cost. So, since you bought that property, though, what have you been working on?
So, I got a little team that I have working because I realized that while I'm good on the phone and calling and skip tracing and all that stuff, that's not where my time is best spent because I'm only, I'm human. So I've got some people that are some VAs that are working on helping me find deals so that it's I can get the off market deals. But I have dabbled on the MLS. I've got a flip right now that's a flip right now that's on the market. I've got a flip that I'm getting ready to renovate that I partnered on, and so I've got those working. And then I have now partnered on 12 units. And then I have 54 that my partners and I are closing on at the end of August.
That is awesome. So you're going to be up to, I think the count was 70 units this year.
Yeah.
How did you find the people to network with, and how did you find the deals?
Okay, so that's very exciting. So the networking came from BIA. And
now, tell
people
group. What BIA is. They don't.
So BIA is the Bur Invest Academy, and in our city group. So I have met lifelong friends there: Taylor, Demont, Elizabeth, the Contis, like so many. Joao, my bestie. Like I've met so many people there, And
Joao came in. I mean, he's a millionaire now, right?
yeah.
I mean, look, guys, there's so many people that become millionaires and then they're going out. And so the BIA is the mentorship where I mentor people.
Yes.
And so one of the most powerful things is having a group of people that are all operating with the same knowledge, the same goal, the same focus, the same mindset.
Yes.
When you can get a group of 10 people, they can do the same work as 1,000 people. It's called synergy. And you think about 1,000 people, they could be unproductive. But when you put 10 people together and they're all marching in cadence and they all know what the goal is and they all know what their responsibilities are, it's next level.
It's
and so
amazing.
You guys have put together the capital with your private group. You've put together the contractors. You've put together the deals, the property management. I mean, it's everything that you need.
Yes.
So
yes.
What does the 54 unit look like? What are you buying it for? How much is renovation? What's it going to be worth?
So the 54 unit, and let me just go back to the story of how the 54 unit came about.
Sorry, I was so excited,
awesome.
Michelle.
No, that's okay. Me too. So, and I found the deal. So that makes me even more excited. So this little house that I renovated in Kernersville that I was just telling you about, I told you the greenway, the parking area, the driveway's right here, or, right beside my property. And then there was a little commercial building on the other side of it. So in my wholesaling, I called these people about this property wanting to buy it a year ago. And I was coming back from Ohio for our meetup, and I had a voicemail from them. They had told me if they had wanted to sell, that the older couple, they'd take my number and they'd put it on their bulletin board and they'd call me if they were ready to sell. So they did. So I happened to go to Kernersville because I've got a plumbing issue, and I meet them out at the property. I'm looking at it. I'm interested. Commercial building. I'm turning into a coffee shop or something right beside that greenway, rent some bicycles. And I see they're older. I'm like, so do you guys have anything else for sale? And the wife kind of dropped her shoulders, looked down. She's like, well, yeah, we do. And, but, the person hasn't closed on it yet. And I said, oh, okay. Well, what is it? She's like, it's 54 units. I said, oh, okay. And she was like, she said the contract had expired. He hadn't closed. And I thought, well, okay, well, I'm interested. What's the price on it? And it was 3.275. And I was like, okay. So I'm on my way back and I told her, I'm going to talk to some people and I'll be back in touch. I'd like to see it. Okay, sounds good. So I'm on my way back to Greenville, and on the way I'm stopping in another city to meet Joao to look at some property that we're looking to partner on. And I tell him about it, and he's like, Michelle, bring it to the group, to some other partners that he was with that I had already met about doing some property management. So I bring it to them, and they underwrite it, and because I can't close on it yet. I don't have that experience yet. I can do everything in the background, property management-wise, renovation, all that stuff, but not yet the underwriting. So they underwrite it, and they're like, holy crap, like, this is a unicorn. So we go look at it, all the stuff, and renovation, I think we've got, I want to say it's roughly $1 million in there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's all cosmetic. It's built in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh,
the rents
wow.
Yes, the
so
rents
worth
are
$6 million.
Yes. The rents are $5,650 at the most. There
wow.
is a comp that is newly built. They're renting 2 bedrooms. These are all 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, or 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Anyway, so they're renting 2 bedrooms for $1,700 a month. Our pro forma is roughly $1,200.
That
and
thing's worth $7.5 million in if you're gonna get them rents.
Yes, it is.
Oh, you bought it for $325. You put $1 million in it. You're $425, and it's gonna be worth $7 to $8 million.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's all cosmetic. They're just tired landlords.
Yeah.
It's I'm done. And this is where it comes in of where you say, and now I say, like, my whole career, my whole life has built me up for this. And to look back and all the value add, all of the renovations, all of the things for other people.
This gave me chills, Michelle. That is life-changing.
Me too.
Because not only you, but we got other Academy members in there too.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning.
Yes.
And so, man, I'm very, with my time, I'm very, I want to have my time available to give back to everybody. And one of the
Yes.
things that I've done is I've intentionally, I don't tell you guys about the big deals that I do a lot of times because I want to keep people focused, because I feel like if they get unfocused, they're
Right.
chasing this, they're chasing that. And I tell them all the time, some of you guys don't know how to experience. Now you had experience because you know how to run these. And Joel, he can do it because he can help with the
Right.
construction. You can like perfect, right? And so I'm gonna be coming out with a mastermind because I gotta show you guys how you can find these deals all the time. I
Yeah.
can show you how to find these deals off market. And I'm gonna be working on that. I may even call you in for some of your property management expertise.
I'd love
And
to help.
so I am just, man, blown away, man. I knew you got that, but I didn't really know the whole story. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And I
Thank
want to
you.
say this. Here's what everybody doesn't understand. She talks about who's in her group. Her, she's a white female. Joao, where's he from? He's
Peru.
Peru, right? And he's younger. He's what,
Oh,
30?
yes. Yeah, 35-ish.
And then you got Demont, ex-con, right?
Yeah.
And so when people say, well, not me, I'm like, stop it, man. Like Demont just did 17 years in prison, and his mindset for an ounce of cocaine, right?
Yeah.
And I said, man, did you kind of feel bad about that? He said, nah, man, Nate, I'm glad I went to prison. I'm like, who says that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we talk about all the different people, it is you that we are speaking to. This is for you. Now, whether you want, I got free trainings, I got a mentorship. Look, I'm not telling you to come with me, but I'm telling you to find a damn way to change your life through real estate. The Bur method will change your life.
Yeah.
There is never a shortage of properties. There is, there's an abundance of excuses. There's not a shortage of properties. And
Very
so,
true.
Michelle, man, in 14 months, you're up to 70 units.
Soon to be.
And you've accomplished more in 14 months financially than you have your previous, we ain't gonna tell them your age, but and her previous 21 years before that, okay?
Yes.
She's 22 now.
Yes.
And so, I mean, look, think about it. But many of us are conditioned to go work a job.
Yep.
A job. And listen, man, I got people that work for me. And I tell them, like, why you want to work for me, man? I'll show you how to do real estate. Quit.
Yep.
But many of them just say, nah, man, I really like working here. And then I try to take care of people and give them bonuses and equity share because I care about people. But
Yep.
job, most people just over broke. Just over broke. Just over broke. That's all it's going to do. Going to keep you just enough. There's never any real opportunity. So Michelle is a very smart woman, and she has a very supportive spouse. Think about it. So she's the one that's really in here, but her husband's the one on the honeymoon saying, hey, man, I got to take this call in a minute, And so if you make a decision to change your life, you will do it. Don't think it won't come without bumps in the road. Like hers had bumps. And luckily, she had a support group and the BIA in our academy to say, hey, look, you call them and you tell them, you can give me this money or somebody else is, right? Sometimes you need to do that. And, but what you're doing is you're showing other people, empowering other people. And then we become like a generator of sorts. Like we generate energy and give it back to others. And then it just becomes huge. It's like the sun.
Yes.
It's bright. And
I'm trying to do the same thing for my kids. Yes.
Yeah, now you're teaching your kids. But
yes.
Michelle, you and your husband, you guys are so unselfish with your time and energy. And I think you know this by now, but you cannot outgive. When you give, now don't give out of your growth. You give out of your abundance. But I'm talking about your time.
Right.
When you think about being around the right people and giving time, the right people come back to you. And that's exactly what happened. And, I'm so grateful to have you down there helping other people and just the whole community. I mean, I could have never, growing up as an ex-con myself, could have never imagined that, why me? like, why me? Like,
Yep.
just
I
because
feel
I can
exactly the
relate.
same way. Yep.
I can relate to people. Michelle can relate to people. And man, I thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you. It's great, and I'm excited. We both are to be part of, and it's just been life changing. And again, I can't imagine, some of these people that are in my life now. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're here forever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
They're more family than family. I mean, literally.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't mean to say that, but I spend more time with. And look, I hang out with my brother and sister, and but I spend more time with the BIA family than anything, and it's because we all are on the same wavelength, and it's easy to talk to because I can't wait to see the Bur 360 and all these islands and everything, and people are like,
yeah.
I don't want to get off on an island. Can we just hang out and talk real estate? It's like hey, so we will take a break though. We'll have a good time out there.
Nice.
So, Michelle, what's next? I mean, what's your next 3 years look like, realistically?
Realistically, well, so I'm growing faster. I've outpaced my vision of growth so far. And so I want to continue. I want to get up to the number that I need for the Burs, because I don't want to lose focus of that, even though doing some multifamily. And my ultimate goal in the next year is to retire Kenneth from his landscape business that he does very well and has done very well for us, but it's just not sustainable. I want to bring him in to do this full time so that we can scale even more.
That is awesome. So, if you had one thing to say to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, the very first thing I think I probably can't say on camera, but the next thing is, just like screw them all. No, just go for it. Don't be scared.
Wow. Taylor said the exact same thing.
Do what?
Taylor said the exact same thing when I asked him what he had to say to his younger self.
Really?
Just go do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of failure.
Yeah.
Failure is what keeps you molded into the same place that you're likely to keep your kids molded into. It's like a leash.
Yep. And right now, so like I was on the Zero to Hero call because, I kind of just dawned on me, like, we do all these calls and, everybody's celebrating their successes, and that's fantastic. I've had successes myself, but some different things have happened lately that, are not wins. And I'm like, you know what? I feel really compelled to share this because I want other people to know it's not all wins. But again, the celebrating those small wins will help you when those other, situations happen, which for me, have been a few different things lately. And I got a little overwhelmed and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. You fail forward. It's okay. I'm learning from it, and that's all you can do.
You know what's crazy, Michelle, is that I did a post this morning, Winning Wednesdays, which we used to do in a group all the time. I did it in a big group. And I said, I want you to share your Winning Wednesdays, but I also want to share some of the things that I had this week that happened to me. We had a huge, massive tree, like 80-foot tree fall on one of our decks. Tornado came through Ohio. And then I had a dry sprinkler line bust in one of my hotels on the 5th floor and flood out on Friday night. I was like, but you know what? I got an email yesterday that I got a $50,000 check on a property that we did a refinance. And I got about another $340,000 coming off of that. So I got about $400,000. Also, I did my numbers this morning on the, did you see the insurance job that we were doing?
Yes.
They gave us $350. We ended up getting $241,000. That was profit. So I mean, you got your loss, but you also got your wins, right?
Yeah.
And so don't ask how things can be easier. Ask how you can be better. That's it. And because if you acclimate up to being better, then you're changing the exact circumstance that's going to keep most people back.
Absolutely.
You can't change the stuff that you go through. You can learn from the things that you go through and say, hey, I need to build out some better standard operating procedures to make sure I'm not going through this again.
Yep. And as long as you grow from them, it's not a mistake. It was
not a
supposed to
mistake.
happen. That's right.
That's what Taylor said earlier. And you got Taylor down there in your community too. I mean, you guys might be on par with Cincinnati, man. We got some killers. You guys got killers down there, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are buying tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate down there. That group you got, man. I mean, there's going to be, when I tell you this, I know that there are several people in the academy that will go on to own billions of dollars worth of real estate. You included. Like, here's the thing. It's if you want, right?
Yep.
Because here's the thing. It's if you want. Once you have this, it's if you want. And people will say, well, why wouldn't you want it? Because there comes a certain point in time when you got enough money, and then what is your real passion? Your passion may be your real estate because you want the financial freedom.
Right.
And we can give that to you guys, man. Make sure you like follow Michelle, like the journey that she's going through, the journey that I've been going through, and get in our private group, not our private, get in our Bur Invest. And if you want a mentorship, I can help you guys out with that. Drop the link below. We'll send you out some video training, see if this is a good fit for you. We don't let everybody in, man, because we want to make sure we keep the community pure. People that got too much of a negative mind, I'm just telling you guys, man, we don't let everybody in, man. This is about community for us. But if you're ready to change your life, we can help you with that. And it's not just me. It's several thousand people that we have in the group that all support each other, that are all operating on that same wavelength. So, Michelle, thank you so much. I'm going to jump in. I got to jump in with Demont now.
Okay.
I feel like man, we got to come down and do a South Carolina meetup. Maybe that's where we'll come next time. Like literally over there.
Yeah. Nice.